Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Radical Reality Productions. Today, we are here with myself, as always, Jay Milligan, your host, our exit specialist, Julia Rowe, and today we are joined by our runner-up, a survivor, Yagong Island, McKenna Inglis. McKenna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. I'm very tired. I know it's like 1 p.m. Eastern time, but it's Sunday. I'm feeling it.
Aren't we all? Sunday's always always fun, right?
Mhm.
But with that being said, I think we're going to go ahead and head right in and see what Julia has in store for us.
Awesome.
McKenna, thank you for joining us today. I'm just going to start off with what was your overall strategy going into this mini, and how did your strategy change and adapt throughout the day?
Good question. I have never played a mini before, and this is only my second game ever. So I was coming hot off a long game. Coming into a mini, the only way I know how to play is like strong socially. So that was kind of the strategy going in, is that's how I figured I was going to play. But yeah, there's definitely some adaptation as there needs to be in a short form game. I started thinking about, who is the biggest threat to me immediately, who's the biggest threat to me long term, who's gonna propel me, forward, versus like who do I like and want to work with and have a good time hanging out with on Zoom, which is more so like a social way of thinking.
So the next question was about which aspect of the game you played best, but you just touched on that. You think your social game is stellar. So what are some specific parts of the game where you saw that social game shine that you think really propelled you forward?
Yeah, I mean, you see right away, I am in a tribe where the only person I'm like super familiar with is John, and I'm not even familiar with him that much. He had just been on prod in the game that I played, but I'd never really spoken to him. So I felt it worked right away. I was a little quieter on my starting tribe. Other people were kind of talking. I was just chiming in. And my name was never on the table pre-merge. So that, I think it started strong that way. And then in the Andrew vote, the second vote, I was a big ride or die for Matt at that point. I was like, I don't want to send Matt home. He was on my initial very starting tribe. And I thought, if Matt somehow is able to make it far in this game, I want him to look back and think, hey, McKenna like rode for me early on. So I was like setting myself up with connections in the beginning. And then I think once the merge hit, and even before then, I'm with Lily and Victoria. People, now everyone knows we talk nearly daily. But in Carrie, at the merge, I think those natural connections formed and people saw us as a group. But as the game went on, I was able to branch out and build connections and bring them in and kind of play that middle piece until the end. So I would say that.
Julia, can I ask you one thing before you go? Why Matt over Andrew? Because I have to give Matt shit always.
Listen, I love Andrew. And I do feel bad about voting him out because he seems like such a great person. And I'll say that till I die. But like I said, Matt was on my very starting tribe. And in a mini, you grasp onto anything that can connect you. And if I'm like, hey, screw Matt, let's keep Andrew, and somehow it doesn't work out and Matt stays, he's gonna be like, I want McKenna's head. I heard she was throwing my name. So, and then come to find out, Bill and Matt are connected. So potentially that could have been something where I'm able to work with them. It just was like better for me. Maybe not better for my tribe, but better for me.
Fair enough. I think you did really well with the whole thing of playing underneath the radar and making sure you had those connections that would save you if the pre-existents were going to conclude in themselves early on.
Are there any connections that you wish you developed more, maybe in like the pre-merge section or early merge, that you think would have set you up better going into the end game?
I mean, it's not like I could get much better than second place with the three I had. But I would have liked to explore connections with both. Well, I mean, more so with Matt, with Alex as well. I never spoke to Bo. We were never aligned at any point before he went. I think the cookie crumbled how it was supposed to crumble, but Gabby was, I did not want to vote Gabby out, but it felt like maybe, I don't know, I can't remember 100%. It's so blurry, the day is so blurry, but I like don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember people were like, do we like, is Gabby the vote? And we were like, that might get the least amount of blood on our hands moving forward, like with a merge coming potentially. So I guess just like the people, Alex, Gabby, I didn't want to vote Gabby out, but it felt like that's where it was going. So I just had to, at that point, I didn't want to make waves.
Yeah, so you touched on it a bit already, but pre-existing connections played a major role in the merge portion of the game, especially. How did you navigate those overall, and how did you use them to your benefit? And how do you think they ultimately might have cost you the win in the end?
Yeah, I mean, I know exactly where you're going. Like every person that was in the merge outside of Matt, I had spoken to in one way or another. Some I was speaking to every single day. And so for me, watching it back, all of my name was out there at the merge, it was out there from, final 10 or whatever it was. And I think people were putting my name out there, and the existing relationships I had either acted as shields or were there to support me in numbers. And so I think I had set myself up pretty well, where the big threats, which I hate that, I don't enjoy it. I did not like hearing myself spoken about as someone who could just sneak to the end and skate to the end. Like, I think that's bullshit, but I think I had set myself up where people that on the bottom of the big threat I was closely aligned to, also close friends with, and people that are skating by, so stupid, I was also aligned with. So I found myself kind of in that swing position of maybe it doesn't necessarily go my way every vote, but most votes I had some sort of input on.
Awesome. So talk to me a little bit more about your decision to vote Carrie, which ultimately led to you sitting next to Ian Kyle at the end. Obviously, it was a decision that did end up costing you, but what was running through your mind when you went to go cast your vote and make that decision?
I mean, I think Jay can attest. I wrote both of their names down on a piece of paper. And I didn't know, I just didn't know what to do. Carrie and I had been aligned all game, but I think what got in my head is that Carrie and I were playing similarly. If I think about it now, I think I would have lost to Ian or to Carrie. Like, I don't think there's a world in which I win the game. And I know that's a question that'll come later, but like, I just think I knew going in, like I felt more satisfaction beating Ian than I would have felt beating Carrie for some reason. And Ian and I were not aligned at all before like final 7. And then all of a sudden we were aligned, and you don't see a lot of that in the episodes, but like all of a sudden we're like, wouldn't it be so funny if we worked together? Like, instead of throwing each other's names. So yeah, I don't know what was going through my head. It was one or the other, and I'm probably going to be in the same spot either way.
I just want to say I can attest to that. And like just a funny like thing. Like the clips I put in the episode were exactly the clips everyone went, and me and Marvin are just sitting there like this, or like not McKenna choosing between because everyone just went 1-1-1. We just pulled McKenna, and we're like, this is really happening. Like, and she was literally saying like, I have 2 cards, and we're just like, like we were just like, oh, this is interesting. Like,
And
it was
like
just yeah.
I'm jumping back and forth with like Kyle, and I'm talking to Kyle, and he's like, you're not going, like, you're good. Who should we vote? And I was like, we should obviously vote for Ian, right? We need to get Ian out of here. And then I'm with Ian, and he's like, you should vote for Carrie, right? And I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do?
So I do have a question. Do you know it's gonna be 1-2-1-1, and do you know that you're gonna be the swing vote between that, or do you like?
Yeah, I had a very good idea. That's what was being told to me. Ian's like, Carrie's gonna vote for you. And I was like, okay, so it really was all my decision. And like, obviously hindsight's 2020. Like, should I have voted Ian out? Maybe, but I think I also, like, I've been joking about it, like fumbling the bag so hard at the end, but like, I don't necessarily have regrets on what I did. I just think like, in that pressure situation, and you're forced to make this decision, and you're deciding between 2 people who are both strong players, and it's like, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's like you have
sure.
a swing position, like you had like a choice of go left or right. I think maybe Carrie gets closer, but I think like ideally for you, it'd be that final 2 and be with Kyle. Like I think ideally, like
Yeah,
that's the best position, because I do think Carrie, I think you get more votes against Carrie, but I'm not sure how it exactly breaks out, and maybe we can ask that tonight.
yeah.
All right.
So what do you think were pivotal votes in your game that you can look back on and said, like, these are why I ended up getting to the end? Or if there's any that you look back on and specifically like regret and said, like, I handled this wrong, or I should not have done this there.
I think I'm really hard on myself when I play these games. Like, I'm hard on myself in general, but I'm really hard on myself when I play these games, and I have to remember they're like just for fun. And so I've been trying not to look back on myself or on my game and like be pissed at what I did and the decisions I made. But I think some of the more pivotal votes come at the Bill vote and then at the Victoria vote. Like, the Victoria vote was kind of a foregone conclusion post, like once we all had it in our minds, yeah, Victoria keeps winning, she's gonna win. And like, as someone who's played with Victoria and had her screw me over before, like, obviously I want to get a little revenge on that. But I definitely think the Bill vote, Victoria comes back and she's like, what happened? And I'm like, I don't know, I don't know, something happened, we switched, and it was never gonna be Ian.
I will say, because it's unanimous, I had put Ian and Victoria voting for each other. But one of my favorite voting confessionals did come from McKenna, and it was voting Victoria. They're like, this vote sucks or whatever, but like, you voted for me end of 5th place one time, so like, I'm returning the favor. So like, definitely.
Yeah, she cut me at 5, so I had to return the favor.
Are you
You're
good?
even.
Exactly, you're even. Are you good to go to Facebook questions, or and then let me go through that real quick?
Next time that you guys meet up, it's a clean slate, best 2 out of 3.
Right.
I did. Matt voted me at once. I voted him at once. We were even, and then we became ride or dies in the next game. So that's how it works. You got to get someone back.
The way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, I feel like now it's like Victoria and I have been seen as a duo for so long. I don't ever want to play with her again.
Fair enough.
I love you, Victoria. But
she's gonna be watching this too. All right. Do you have anything else for your last question? Or do you want to head over to Facebook?
Yeah, so I'm gonna have a question I'd just like to ask at the end, but I'm gonna hand it over to Jay for questions from the viewers.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So first we got, guess there's no spoilers because we're over. The winner of Survivor Yagong Island, Ian Moorhead. McKenna, assess your social game, strategy game, I guess you meant strategic, and challenge prowess, each on a scale of 1 to 10. And then he has a second question about, go ahead and answer that one first.
So this is hard. I did see a lot of these questions beforehand, and I've been thinking about this one. again, Ian knows I'm hard on myself when I play these games, and he's always like trying to say you're better than you think you are. So I know what he wants me to say. But I like genuinely, I think I have a very strong social game. I think I would give it an 8.5, if not a 9 out of 10. I think naturally I'm a very social person, and I work with people for my job. And so you have to build those connections and build them quickly. And then strategic. So I know going into this game, there was like a lot of talk about how I'm not a strategic player. And I like just don't think that's true. I think my strategy is maybe more under the radar or not so in your face. And I think that just because it's not like I'm not winning challenges and I'm not, running votes doesn't mean I'm not thinking about the way I want things to play out at the end. And so I would give that obviously lower a 7. This is like overall, not necessarily in this game. And then my challenge prowess. I've never won a challenge before, but I've been close. And so I don't think it's that I'm bad at challenges. I joke around and that I am bad at challenges, but I'd give it a 5. I've never won one, but I've come close, and it's not like I'm incapable of winning them. Stuff happens.
Yeah, I would almost argue that's not that you're bad at challenges, it's just that like there's always people that are better. Like that's like how I feel, like a lot of people. And I will say that like your social game, I would say, is more important than strategic game. So I think that's really like good that you can like do that, because I know plenty of people can't. All right. Also, how else you kind of answered this already, so the second question. So I guess we'll kind of skip over that. Ian, we love you, but we did ask that already. So and Kyle has a question for both of you, the third place finisher. What is an important move you made that was not highlighted?
It's like a hard question, because I don't think I can pinpoint one exact moment that wasn't highlighted, but I think the way that things played out in the episodes, like it didn't necessarily show how closely Ian and I were working together. And I really do think, had we not started working together, I wouldn't have been sitting at the end. Like I think someone else would have cut me before the end.
Right. Good.
So I do think aligning with Ian was a move. Maybe it wasn't under the radar, but it wasn't necessarily shown in the episodes to its full extent, obviously. But I think I would say that it got me to the end.
Right. And I feel like in the episodes, it almost highlighted exactly how it was in the game. That's how I tried to do it, because like people didn't know. So like it was this big thing that people like, oh wow, McKenna like was off this vote and was like blindsided at the Lily vote, but then she like, and I try to make it more about you coming back together because you found Ian. I felt like people didn't really know that. It wasn't as clear because you guys were still like trying to stay separate. It looked like almost, I don't know, like from your perspective, were you guys like trying not to be in the same breakout room too long, or like more so in groups? Because like I couldn't find much of that, and that's why I was like, huh.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't trying to highlight, in my mind, I can't speak for Ian, but like in my mind, we weren't trying to highlight that we were working together, because then that puts a bigger target on both of our backs, especially since I'm the one that threw Ian's name out so early. I just think a secret connection, or like working together quickly and quietly, worked in our favor, in both of our favors, and definitely in mine. I feel like if people, because then you turn around and I'm like, we got to get Ian out of here, like he has to go, but the whole time I'm like, it won't be him if I can help it. So yeah, I think that was like something that it's not necessarily like that wasn't highlighted, but yeah, it wasn't highlighted. So I do attribute a lot of the end game to that relationship.
Right, exactly. No, I think you did a good really job of like doing it and flying underneath the radar. But with that, we have the question from, where is it? I just lost it. With the other McKenna, from the other McKenna, you are such an amazing player to go from fifth to second, and is a hard thing to do. And you are a top tier player. My question is to my dearest golf, who would you play with? Who would you play you in a movie about you, and why? Who would play? So what actor would play you? Yes, actor or actress rather.
I ask this question to everybody, so I feel like it's only right that it's returned. I feel like, and I never have an answer for myself, but I feel like Melissa McCarthy is someone that could play me. She gives off I would love to be her. She gives off similar vibes of what I aspire to be. So I think she could take my life and like ramp it up a notch in a movie.
Fair enough. I think that's a good choice. So let's see what we have. Next we have Greg Langstein. McKenna, if you were on CBS Survivor and allowed a luxury item, who would you bring?
I would bring, this is not going to help my tribe whatsoever, but it'll help them to get me out of their hair. I would bring like a book or a Kindle or something like that. Like a Kindle probably with pre-downloaded books. I don't know if that's allowed as a luxury item, but I would bring it because I need some time away. I read every day, so you gotta keep the brain sharp.
I do actually remember that someone from your interview. How many books did you read in 2021? It was like an insane number.
Yeah, it was like 240 in 2021. And then I started playing org, so this year it's way less.
I used to bowl every single weekend and 3 times a week, and then I started playing orgs, and I have bowled 5 times in past 6 months. So it's true. It's a new addiction.
Hobbies. Yeah, I know. It's like I used to have a social life, and now I don't. No,
How many have you played since? I'm just curious.
These are the only 2 I've played. So no, this is the only 2 I've played, and like my job is so intense during the summer. Like I'm working 60 hours a week, and so there's just no way that I could like try to play like a long game, especially. I couldn't do that during the summer. So the winter months, like fall, winter, is a better time for me. Even minis, like I work on a lot of weekends, and the weekends are my time to not work and like do other things. So yeah, I knew during the summertime it's just not for me, but maybe coming soon. I don't know.
Fair enough. All right, so next we got a question from our 4th place finisher, Carrie. Golf, I love you so much. If you had to choose one Taylor Swift era to describe your Yagong Island game, which one would you choose? Also, let's go see Taylor next time she's on tour. So got to answer that. And I just wanted to say what McKenna thinks, but go ahead.
So this is an interesting question.
I'm also expecting these props.
Yeah, listen, I'll get to the prop. So my Taylor Swift era, I would say I started like the pre-merge was maybe a Lover era, even into like the first merge boot. I mean, you heard in my confessional, I was like, Michael, I wanted to get voted out because I wanted to be the first one on Ponderosa. I was like, and it doesn't look like that's gonna happen. I'm thinking about, oh man, I'm gonna sit on Ponderosa, I'm gonna play Overcooked with my friends, and then like we see after the Lily vote it switches, and I think I move into a Reputation era. So yeah, I think there was a switch, and if you know Taylor Swift at all, they're like polar opposite eras. So I would say that I saw her Reputation tour. So if she ever did like some sort of throwback, Carrie and I can go to that together. It was so good. I saw it twice actually.
That was a fantastic answer. That was the perfect
Yes,
answer.
on point.
That was the perfect answer. I'm gonna say I do have to step away. I'm having a pet emergency, but I'm frozen anyway.
Oh, no, you're
Okay,
not.
sorry.
Not for me.
I was frozen on I'm having a pet emergency. I really need to go take care of. So lovely to talk to you. Jay's gonna finish up the questions. Sorry to leave so abruptly.
Just text me your last question.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, sorry about that.
You're good.
Yeah. No, anyway, she also wants to know, tell us your favorite story about Nugget.
Nugget's my cat. So I guess I know what McKenna wants me to say, and so I have this I commissioned this photo, this drawing of Lil Nas X, and it's like of him in the pink cowboy suit, like the iconic look. And I never put it in a frame. And so I would just had it in the plastic, and like Nugget loves to chew on Lil Nas X. Like she loves to chew on this painting. And so anytime we're on Zoom, I'm like, oh my God, Nugget she's getting into Lil Nas again. So I actually hid the painting. I was trying to find it before this. I hid it, and I hid it so well I don't even know.
I love that.
So I was gonna bring it out and show the actual painting. I think that's the story McKenna wants me to tell, but probably a better story is just when I adopted her, I went in to actually adopt her sister, and her sister was like a cute little snuggle bug, and she just wanted to curl up on your neck and stuff. And the foster mom let us take the cats into the bathroom just to like see their personality, like running around. Nugget actually jumped in the toilet like while we were in the bathroom. And I was like, yeah, that's my cat. And so I took her home that day, and that now I'm like, dang, why is she a little bitch all the time? And
it's like that. They're always different when you adopt them. They always like give you like the adopt me, and then they're never the same. I've learned that with experience from pets. All right, and next we do have John David Millisap. McKenna, I'm so glad we got to know each other because of this game. What was your most subtle move that you think propelled you furthest in this game? And I think kind of answered it's the Ian thing, I'd say, right?
Yeah, I would definitely say the Ian relationship. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, John and I didn't really know each other. Like we knew he'd interviewed me for confessionals a few times.
Fair enough, it'd be like that. And next we have Ben Horn. What's your favorite Queen song?
Oh my God. So I just asked this question to Ben for his exit. And Ben and I are both from Michigan. So Quinn 92, look him up. He's a Michigan artist, big fan. I would say I have two. So like my favorite song is probably called, Make Time. It's just like a single, never put on an album. But then my like second, probably more favorite song is called Another Day in Paradise from the very first EP he ever released. So I'm an OG fan, went to like house shows and stuff. Pre-record label.
Yeah. And just because we are huge Ben stands, and I think this is a hilarious comment he put on this. He goes, because I know both you and Carrie's question, who asked in Carrie's interview right after this, he goes, no clue where I got these questions from, and it's because you both asked the same questions. And you're respected. So
yeah. I love to ask. I always say, I told Ben this, so this is not a surprise to him, but I was like, not on the Ben train right away. And then all of a sudden I was like, I love you. And I'm a stan. Yeah, Ben Horn stan.
Oh my God. He is just so like, hello, I'm here. And hello, how are you doing? And, like, don't know how he does it without caffeine, because he just like.
Yeah, we love Ben.
Oh, we do. Ben is fantastic. Never like, I've had like very few interactions with him, but totally love it. And next we do have our sixth place finisher, Bill. McKenna, I really loved meeting you, even if we worked at cross purposes for most of the game. And why the heck is everyone calling you Golf? I know the answer, or do you want to go ahead and answer if you don't?
Bill. Love you, Bill. I did joke around the whole time. I'm like, dang, why does Bill hate me so much? He's always tossing me around. I was like, I gotta get in better with the Bill Victoria little duo. But they call me Golf because my name's McKenna, and obviously world-renowned McKenna Feeney also is named McKenna, spelled the same way. So we were trying to figure out a way, especially in like the Trinity Falls prod chat, of how to differentiate McKennas. And so we're like, what's a character trait about each other? And someone said, well, McKenna Feeney's gay and McKenna Inglis plays golf. And so I work in the golf industry, so it's golf and gay is how we differentiate each other.
That's great. So, I love that.
Yeah. Like so many other things, but this one stuck.
Fair enough. And I will say, yeah, so Ben, as I will say, is Bill is someone like if you go after him first, he holds a grudge. Like as someone who was in that position, like Bill was not like doing. Bill just gets caught up in the moment, so he was not like against you. I know that about Bill,
and
which I'm sure.
It's so funny because like I have watched every episode of like DCP's Survivor Games, and so I've watched Bill play a lot, and I've like seen Bill play in other like org groups, and so I was like big Bill fan. And then to see Bill on screen, I'm like, oh my god, how's this gonna happen? But it's fun, and like what does he say? It's just a game.
Oh yeah, it's just a game. Like trust me, me and Bill went after each other in a game one time, and now he's on my production team. So there you go, people. It happens. Next, we got Kylie Scruggs. She says, "My queens with two crying faces, Golf with her. I love you, and you are one of my favorite people ever to watch play Survivor. You win for my favorite confessional this season for sure with #garb. Is there any instances from this season of Yagong that is significant enough to get a segment in denim on denim and nowhere to go? If so, what is it? LOL."
So for those of you who don't know, in my Monte Carlo exit interview, someone asked me what my like memoir would be called if I were to write or my stand-up special would be called, and I said it's called Denim on Denim with Nowhere to Go because I used to think that was so dressy. But yeah, definitely there are a lot of moments from this season that I would not necessarily like funny moments that I would contribute to the stand-up, but like if I were writing a book, I think it's just so special to play a game with people you really care about. And like it's hard because everyone knows exactly how you play, and everyone knows your tells, and they're talking to you, you know, just casually all the time, so they know a lot of your thought processes. But I was just like, there's a moment the day of the game, you know, kind of when everyone's voting, it's just me, Ian, and Kyle, and we're sitting here and we just start laughing. We're like, I cannot believe it's the three of us. And like it's just such a heartwarming moment to have two of your closest online friends turned like real friends, and you're sitting next to them, and you don't really care who wins. Like you obviously want to win, but you don't really care because you're happy for whoever's you're sitting next to. And it's just like, I think everyone this season is so like everyone means something to me, and I think that's just like a really special thing for me to take forward, you know, in my second game, and I already have built these like really strong bonds with these people. So I think I would definitely include something like that.
Fair enough. I like that answer a lot. Next, we do have Lily Petzl, our 9th place finisher. Both of you are queens for killing it this game and in life with the two pink heart emojis twice. McKenna, if you had to play Survivor with a Love Island contestant, who would it be and why? No idea where she got this question from.
So Lily and I talk about Love Island. So I this was going to be a shock to her, but I would probably play with Davide from season 8 of UK, who was part of her favorite couple from Love Island. And the why, oh god, I just think that he would be hilarious. And people would probably like I'm not very loud person in settings like that. Like I can be a loud person when we're in hanging out in a group, but he seems like loud and obnoxious and like out there in your face. And I think I could use that as a shield to some point. Like, also he just seems fun. He seems like a fun guy. And if I had to play like a duo, I would definitely bring Ek and Sue, who's like his girlfriend or whatever. I wouldn't want to play with them, but I just love to watch them play together.
Fair enough. I've never seen Love Island, so
Sorry,
I
it's
had no input, but I'll take your word for it.
good.
All right. And I that's all our Facebook questions. I would turn it back to Julia, but obviously she had something she had to take care of between interviews today. So I'm just gonna go ahead and ask her last question, which is there anything in hindsight you think that you could have done better, differently, or would have done differently throughout the course of the game to help you get more votes, or even get more votes, or even change the outcome of Final Tribal Council?
I think we touched on this a little bit, but like I said, I don't really like to look back, and like I'm trying not to look back and be hard on myself. But I think voting Ian out at Final Four is like what would have happened, you know? I do think Carrie, while we played similar, like we made similar steps throughout the game, Carrie was making more obvious moves to people. And like even watching the episodes back, people are like, who do you attribute that move to? And people would say Carrie. And like no, at no point would someone like attribute a move to me. So I feel like if I were sitting on the jury, like I would vote for Carrie because I respect her game and I respect what she did. And I saw what she did, you know, from step 1 to the end. So that's what I would say. And I think the jury respects a game where people can see your moves and that you see them being made, and that's different for every game. So I guess that whole scenario, I'm not gonna tear myself down for what I did, and I don't regret what I did, but if I had to do it differently, I still think the outcome would be the same in my position, like we've talked about, but I could have gotten a few more votes. Who knows?
No, I definitely think you're right. Like I would say, even like, because I took a very few confessionals. I was mainly doing like other stuff on the side, and like watching back, I was shocked with how strategic like Carrie was being. Like I don't think anyone's like, because Carrie, that she played totally different than what I've seen her play, and I'm like, honestly, and she was one I was like most impressed with from the season. Like she was running that like first tribe too. Like Carrie got what she wanted. Like,
and like I've told this to Carrie, like not just because she's in this group, like I genuinely am impressed and like respect the game that Carrie played. And did I ride her coattails? Maybe, but I think she was just the vocal leader of the alliances I was a part of. And I think people respect that game, and she would be able to say like, no, I wanted so-and-so, like at this vote, and I was able to drive this vote. And she's so socially connected, and she's so kind, and she draws you in, and like I love Carrie. And it's yeah, I just don't see a world in which I win in with the combo of 4 that we had at the end. I obviously have never made Final Tribal Council before. This is my first one, my second game. And so it's a kind of a crapshoot when you get there, right? Like,
no, I will say, like, take kudos to her, because I played plenty more Survivor games and I've yet to make it Final Tribal. So like just the fact that you made your second is like a feat in yourself. Like don't, like, especially so.
Thanks.
You're up, man. Like, it's such a hard thing, and like a lot of people don't realize like what it takes to get there. Like it's super hard. So yeah, absolutely.
I just joked the whole time, like, vote me out. Like I'm just here for a good time. And like I wasn't gonna hold a grudge for anybody that voted me out. And then like once it was final six-ish time, I was like, if I don't win this game, if I don't make it to the end, I'm gonna be pissed. So it was just an overall a really fun day, and I really enjoyed it. And I lose sleep over the decisions that were made at the end? No, it's all right.
No, of course, and that's the name of the game. Of course, it's I think everyone's just like that. Like we're like, okay, just gonna make merge. Like just make merge. Okay, I'm on the jury. Like one more round, and then you get to final six. You're like, let's go to the end. Like I think that's kind of exactly position was. I could see it throughout the edit as well. But yeah, I think you played a really good game. I think you had an incredible chance. It's just that the combo of the final four had been harder. But I think at the end of the day, you played an amazing game. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You got to the end and got a vote. Like that in itself is like
Lily. Shout out to Lily.
Shout out to Lily, yeah. Like you got a vote. So at the end of the day, I think it's great. And I would just quick, did you know who your vote was?
I assumed.
Yeah.
I assumed. And then I think later that night someone told me that, or like confirmed that it was. But yeah, I assumed it would be Lily. Of anyone on the jury, I figured she and I have been compared a lot in the way that we play the game, and so I feel like she would respect a game that I played, and I respect the game she plays. And not that I don't respect other games, but it is sometimes hard to earn the respect of a jury playing a quieter game. So I had just assumed. Yeah.
Maybe some people can take lessons from you. Yeah, I'm very bad at that, I will say. But anyway, it's been such a delight to have you on the season. We enjoyed you so much. Hey, we got some season ideas coming up, so maybe we will see you again in the future. Who knows? We appreciate you taking time your day today and on the day of to come and play with us. You were like the first person I think we cast. So and you definitely did not disappoint. We were so excited to see you play, and I'm so happy you got to be a part of it. But with that being said, as always, I'm your host, Jay Milligan. We have our exit specialist who unfortunately had to step away for a bit, Julie Rowe, and once again, the second place finisher, our survivor Yagong Island, McKenna Inglis. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.